Hey guys, it's Leona. Happy Tuesday. It is Empowering Wellness Virtual Book Club night, and it is our last week with Miss Cynthia, who I had the privilege of having her in my amazing play shop this weekend, where we did Tai Chi, Qigong, breathwork, of course, because breath is her superpower, and yoga. And I am so curious to see how she is feeling after that experience. And today I have a shirt from Crowned Free, which is an amazing charity organization that was part of my Unstoppable You Summit, and it says Fear Less. And I thought it was such a great shirt for tonight because when we're trying something new like breath work, you got to be a little fearless. When you are trying a new routine, getting a new modality, going outside your normal realm, sometimes it's important to be fearless. And so I've got my Healy on, I've got some great frequencies going, I've got my book. I can't wait for Cynthia to come on and join us and see what magic she has for us in store for this book club. Now, what's really exciting is next month, the month of June, I have Irina that's going to be our next featured author. So you're going to have to check out who she is, what she's all about, and hear about her featured book. But I know that she has written several and co-written several, so it's going to be really exciting to be able to deep dive next month with Irina. But tonight we are having the beautiful Cynthia, who is a wellness coach, helps with athletes really getting in touch with their breath, for their speed, for their rhythm, for their workout. As a, fitness instructor, and she does fitness competitions, and she's a weightlifter, and she's a runner, breath is really such an empowering and powerful tool. And I always say that breath is your superpower. As someone who's getting certified in somatic breath work, who's been teaching yoga for 20 years now, I can't believe it. I have been working with breath for a long time. As someone who teaches meditations, works with the unconscious minds, does a lot of grounding and connecting people before their sessions when they work with me remotely or in person, breath is always a tool that I use in my somatic energy releases, in my theta healing. Breath has always been that superpower. So no matter if you're doing energy healing or running or weightlifting, breath is a superpower that anchors you into the here and the now, to the moment. And there's so many ways that you can utilize it to create those benefits. So Cynthia is joining. I'm so excited, and I can't wait to hear the final fourth: endurance, speed, and strength. Welcome, my dear.
Hello.
How are you? Happy Tuesday.
I know it is Happy Tuesday. How are you today?
I am excellent. I am ready to rock and roll. I'm so excited to see how you slept after our event and how you felt the next day after doing your breath work and the stretching and the Tai Chi and the Qigong. I wanted to know if you felt a difference in the next couple of days of your activities, and then what tips and tricks you're going to be having uh, for us this evening. So do tell.
Okay, well, a lot to tell. So I will say that the session was absolutely fantastic. I felt really good while I was in the session, but the best part of it was how I felt after I left. All the breath work, I was so relaxing. It was so relaxing. I was energized. My body felt good. The yoga, the stretching, I mean, it was just magnificent. Um, in fact, I thought about it and I'm like, wow, it just goes to show that people that don't do breath work, people that don't do yoga, they do not know what they're missing out on.
Right?
Yes. And one of our weeks, no, we actually, this was a new fact that I looked up just for you because I wanted to see how relevant yoga was for our American population. So only 1 in 3 Americans have uh, done yoga at least once.
Really? That's so interesting. So there's not a lot of people practicing out there.
No, and it does your body good. I mean, I felt good. And I believe when we talked while I was there, I mentioned it just reinforces that I need to really get back into my yoga practice, not only for the breath work, but for the stretching as well, opening up my lungs. Um, I mean, the benefits are just enormous.
Yeah, especially because you're so active, right? You're a lot of that yang energy, that go, go, go. So it's nice to have those restorative yin classes where you slow down, get into that tissue, get into that fascia, and really breathe breath of life into those areas. So good. I'm
And
so glad it was long lasting, very
yeah, and
exciting. It
one
always
more
is,
thing.
but yes, do tell.
Yeah, so I just did want to give a shout out to Master Ben because he really set the stage with the Tai Chi. I mean, he really got us focused, and uh, I use that as a transition. He transitioned us into a state where we could fully relax and appreciate the breath work.
Yes, absolutely. That is a good thing because a lot of times, like we have said, you use breath to help you transition into different phases of your life. Sometimes you need transitions to deepen your practice into different things. So,
Mhm.
absolutely. That's why I tell people, when I even work with my personal clients, it's like I ground and connect them before any energy work, for body work. I ask them how they do. And generally, with every session, I start with breathing because that's that great transition to get them like in their body, have a conversation. Let me work with the tissue when I'm doing the fascial stretch and the movement. Like, how are they feeling? Breath is always such an important thing. I'm always like, inhale, exhale when they're moving their legs and doing the stuff to remind them so they're not like holding their breath or holding everything in. So, yes, no, it was such a fabulous a class, and I know that I felt great. I slept great that night. My body felt great the next day.
Mhm.
And I just love that long lasting benefits of it, which is just so lovely.
Yep.
So, and what a fun fact. All right. So if you're listening to this, people, put hashtag live or hashtag replay. And if you're a yogi, I want to know if you have ever practiced yoga, because I'd love to see if our community watching has practiced yoga, because it is so very, very beneficial for longevity and for strength and flexibility and balance, which is so key as we get older to practice that balance. So yeah, I would love to see what everybody has. So feel free to put those into the comments. So tell us, what are we deep diving in on this last week on this magic book?
Well, it saddens me that we're at week 4 because it
I
seems
know
like
it
it's gone
flew.
by so fast. But what I thought I would do is actually take a stroll down memory lane. First of all, brief, but I wanted to capture the top 10 breath work tips that will help us. These are all science backed to support our lifelong performance, our resilience, and our well being over time. So I wanted to present something that people could take with them for today, tomorrow, and beyond. And
Amazing.
yes, so these tips are going to help us breathe better, perform better, and live better.
Yes, and yes, I'm here for it. All right. So, first of all, we started off with telling them about the 5 breaths in the morning to kind of wake up,
Hmm.
have that little bit of stimulation. You could try them in the evening. It could help down regulate their system, right?
Yep.
We gave them the test where they would hold their breath, right, to see how the longevity of their breath is. And we now know that it helps with asthma, as being asthmatics, that like I've got great lung support, and you had no idea that I would have asthma and the amount of breath work I've practiced over the years. What else have we talked about over the last few weeks?
Okay, so you captured awareness, you captured, you know, our breath efficiency. We also talked about the asthma test that we talked about. The one thing I wanted to point out is that each year after 20, our lung efficiency decreases. So just think if you're 40, your capacity has gone down 20%. That's if you're not doing anything to sustain and improve. So we did talk about that. We also talked about um, just doing breath work for 8 weeks for people with compromised lungs, increase lung capacity by almost 8%. So just think, if your lungs are not compromised and you practice breath work for just 5 minutes a day, the improvement that you could see. We also talked about women, and and something else that we talked about was how we don't recover as well as we should. And the amount of people that don't even take the time to triage. If you recall, I think it was week 2 or 3, we talked about the number of people, yes, the foam rollers, uh, actually just something as simple as posture, how that opens up your lungs and allows you to breathe. And the amount of people that have received massages, 75% have not.
Wild to me. As a massage therapist, that's wild because there's just so many benefits. I'm like, why would you not part in this wellness practice? It's crazy.
It is, it is crazy. And the same with going to the chiropractor, 50% of our US population has not.
I just went today. Thank you, Dr. B. My neck feels better.
I'm sure it does. I mean, that on top of yoga and all the other practices, your body should be in pretty good shape. So yes, that's why you were rocking and rolling over there. But we talked about those things. But the main thing we talked about is how breath is weaved into everything we do. And for women, we did talk about how breath work and hormones, big impact. Like over 65% of women said that their performance is interfered with when their hormones are out of whack. And we also talked about how we could improve hormone stability and hormone, just dealing with hormones with breath work. The other thing, which led to our Kegels last week, where we talked about 70% of women have had some type of dysfunction, uh, you know, in the lower parts of their body. So uh, hopefully the women took that advice. I know I did. Every
And it was
stoplight.
so awesome to also, like, when we had that practice of actually with the breath work, engaging those Kegel muscles, it intensifies the energy flow, the movement, like the everything gets intensified. And when you have that breath and that movement and that awareness and that energy together, it is absolutely amazing. That was such a powerful practice that we had during our breath session of our class on Saturday.
Yes. And I just want to point out that I did the 5K before I came to your event. And I don't know if I was just more conscious of it, but I happened to run into some ladies that were having a conversation talking about the weakness. And the other thing that I didn't mention was leakage that women have after the race. And so, of course, that was my opportunity to jump in and talk about the impact of breath work, and also give them some play work that they could do to counteract that. So
Yay, I love that. Divine timing. We always meet the right people and clients and people that can benefit from what we're doing. And because it's in our awareness, we see more of it and see how we can help more people. So I love that your little ears perked up and you're like, wait, I have some tools and tips and tricks I can help you with that.
absolutely. So I think that those are the big things we talked about a lot. I mean, we talked about a lot of the breathing techniques, the big one, the belly breathing or the diaphragmatic. We talked about box breathing. We talked about rhythmic breathing, uh, nasal breathing. We talked about a lot of them. And the good thing is, when I get to the number 10, we're going to talk about scenarios that best fit each of those breathing techniques.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, tip number 1 is breathe with intention, live with purpose. So,
Yes.
intentional
Uh-huh.
breathing actually, it helps with reducing stress, and it increases focus and it makes you actually give more empowered choices. And here's the stat behind that, which I thought was mind boggling. 10 minutes of belly breathing can reduce cortisol by up to 23%. Now, we know cortisol has negative and positive consequences. On the good side, it can give you more energy, mental clarity. On the bad side, particularly for women, that's where we get the uh, weight gain in the middle, we get fatigued, we get lethargic, and all those things. But breath, the one tool that can really help you. Hey, another point for breath work, right?
Yes, I love that. Wow, 23% it can lower that cortisol level with just 10 minutes a day. That's
Yes,
fascinating. Amazing.
I, I thought it was. Okay, number two, I almost like some of these, I want drum rolls. No, just joking. But this one is interesting because we talked a lot about recovery last week. Recovery starts with a better exhale. Longer exhales help your body switch from stress mode to recovery mode, improving heart rate variability and supporting deeper rest. So, HRV, many of us that have smart watches know that we track that on a continuously, but a lot of people really don't know what it means. So basically all that is that we are measuring those heart fluctuations in milliseconds. So the range can be anywhere from 20 milliseconds to 200 milliseconds, right? Now, what does that mean? That's a bunch of gobbledygook. But here's the thing that you need to remember. You need to know your numbers. You need to identify what your range is, because if you have well, here's the overarching. This is one where the higher the number, the better off you are. Okay, but you need to know your number, because if you start to fluctuate, it is an indicator. But in general, if your number is between 0 and 50 milliseconds, you are in highly compromised health. So you need to really check that out. But if you're 50 to 100, that's an indicator, meaning that your body is trying to fight something. You're coming down with a cold or it's fighting a bacteria. So you need to be able to identify where your numbers are. So when you see it getting in that range, you can put action plan to mitigate whatever that is bothering you. But if you are above like 100, you're in pretty good status. Now, the one thing I want to point out here, not to be confused, HRV with resting heart rate, something totally different. Uh, that just means how efficient your heart is beating when it's at total rest. So for most Americans, that is between 60 and 100. If you're a fine-tuned athlete, maybe 40 to 60. Now, the one thing I will throw out, if you are in overall bad health, you might see lower numbers, but we're not talking about that. We're just talking about your average healthy adult. So that's just something to keep in mind. But back to the recovery starts with a better exhale. The key caveat there is extending your exhale. And we talked about, the long exhales by just 5 seconds can increase heart variability up to 20%. And we just said that the higher the number, the better your health.
That's amazing. So when we want to down regulate, when we want to calm down, you exhale out at least 5 seconds or more to really kind of decompress and lower it down before you do it. Love that.
Yeah. So number three, strong breath, strong endurance. So efficient breathing improves oxygen delivery, it delays fatigue, and it helps you go further with less effort. And that's whether you're in sports or just your everyday chores. Because I'm a runner, I will say that if I'm only shallow breathing, I'm going to get tired very quick, and also get that horrible stitch in my side from not moving oxygen effectively. But if you do breath training, you can improve your VO2 max by 5 to 15%, leading to better endurance and better performance. And my pet peeve, I always talk about my VO2 max and that elite marathon runner. Mine is 30 something, hers is 60 something. Now, some of that is genetics, of course, but the key is we can make improvements with breath work. So I
100%. I
thought
love
that
that.
that was interesting. Number 4 is calm mind, clear focus. So breath work awareness quiets mental chatter, and there's a lot of chatter.
I call it the mind monkey.
Exactly. It's just woo. But this improves concentration and sharpens decision making, and that could be on or off the course. So just 5 minutes, 5 minutes of focused breathing improves attention and cognitive performance by up to, you want to guess?
60%.
Well, not quite, but 25%.
That's awesome.
20, I'll take 25% any day, right?
Heck yeah. Any
Yeah,
kind of improvement, right? When you need clarity and focus to work or to drive or to do your sport, think about it. 5 minutes can change your whole state of being from
mhm,
scattered into your mind monkey to, okay, focus, let's do the things, let's get it done, like dot, 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 right? Like that's huge that 5 minutes can improve that mental clarity with 25%. That's awesome.
right. Because, for some things, you really need to be present and in the moment. Like, how many people do you think are out there driving and they're not 100% there?
Not 100%, that's for sure.
Exactly. So, number 5 is confidence is built one breath at a time. So, controlled breathing reduces anxiety and it builds self trust, helping you show up with courage in every challenge. So, here's the stat that goes along with that: 75% of women report reduced anxiety after consistent breathwork practice, which I think is really interesting.
Yes, with the amount of people that are angst out there that they, can use a simpler tool versus a pill to help have a chill pill internally is awesome.
Here again, why breathwork is our superpower, and it's almost like a hidden gem to most people, right? They
Yeah.
have this power and they don't even know how to
They have
use it.
no idea that if they just tapped into these beautiful lungs in here, that they could shift so many things in health and well-being in their body. This has been so incredible. As someone's getting certified in breath work and has believed in it and has practiced it and done it, but didn't know the steps the stats of all these amazing, science back it. It's like, no wonder why I feel better. No wonder I can breathe more. No wonder why I can get a lot of things done in a short amount of time. People were like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. But it's because I start my morning with meditation and breath work. There
It's
we go.
just
I
that
quiet the
simple.
mind monkey.
Yes. So let's see, number 6. Wow, am I just on number 6? It allows you to move through stress instead of staying stuck. So intentional breathing lowers stress, regulates emotion, and helps you respond rather than react. So, sometimes we are reactive instead of being chill and being proactive. But 70% of women experience a meaningful reduction in uh, perceived stress with regular breath work.
That makes sense. I mean, we think about when a kid's really upset and they can't process their emotions and they're like all freaking out. What do we say? Say, stop, take a deep breath. then talk to me, tell me what you want to say, right? But as an adult, we somehow forgot that that's what we needed to do to be able to say the things, to feel the things, to process the things, right? Like our breath is such a superpower, and we forget that sometimes it can be so simple. I love these tips. Okay,
Yes.
next.
Okay. Beat fatigue naturally. This goes back to something you just talked about. Breath work improves oxygen efficiency and boosts energy without stimulants or even caffeine. So, how many people think that they cannot operate in the morning without that cup of caffeine?
I know, and I'm not a coffee drinker because I do breath work in the morning.
Well, that is a good point because breath work can increase energy levels. This is going to blow you away by up to 24% and reduce fatigue by up to 32%.
Wow, that is amazing. So you think you wake up tired, but you're like, no, let me hit the reset button. Set your alarm for like a good 5 minutes, do some breath work. All of a sudden, you've just had a natural cup of coffee before you even got out of bed.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
love it. This is so good.
So, breath for your season. We talked about women's hormones last week, and they impact breathing and energy. Adjusting your breath to your cycle, the cycle that you're in, supports performance and balance. So, women who align training and recovery with their cycle in life report 30% better energy and performance.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is amazing. And like, I'm not saying that breath does everything, but it definitely is a starting point and can definitely ease anything. Uh,
Especially for women's hormones and support and the anxiety and our well-being. And so many people are in overwhelm and overdrive and overstimulated all the time. Imagine just like setting aside 5 minutes a day just to breathe could help increase your productivity. You can mom better, teach better, live better, do better when you've got those few minutes. So I tell some moms, I said, even if you need 5 minutes, you just go to the bathroom and lock the door. I'm in the bathroom. Sit in the bathroom and do your breaths. Have those moments of alone time because it really can make a huge difference. And now we're seeing those scientific stats of how much it's improving our overall health and well-being, especially our mental health.
oh, absolutely. So here's where we get to use the right breath for every challenge, right? Different situations call for different breath strategies. So your breath is always in your toolbox, right? You can pull it out anytime you need to. So here's the challenge. If you have anxiety or nerves, the primary issue here is overactive nervous system. One of the breath strategies that you can use is the extended exhale breathing. Calms you right down. We talked about that earlier. So, inhale maybe for 4, but exhale for 8, 10, or as long as you can. And that will help put your overactive nervous system back into check.
Amazing. And you have all of these breath techniques in your book, right?
I have a whole appendix full of them. Yes,
Perfect.
yes. So fatigue and burnout, meaning you have low CO2 or carbon dioxide tolerance. So you might want to sync up your breath. Whereas if you're out for a walk, you might breathe, inhale for 4, and when inhale for 4 steps and exhale for 4 steps, kind of a rhythmic breathing situation. Um, Asthma sensitivity, um, nasal breathing is good, and couple that with long exhales. Then for your aging athletes, the problem here is slower recovery. So that means you need to warm up your breathing before with the nasal warm up, and definitely do some on the backside with the recovery breath routine. Life stress, well, we all have that. That's the chronic stress. So you just might want to go for a walk and just be intentional about your breathing. So that's the quick and short version. The long version is in the book. But number 10, consistency creates a lifelong edge. Breath work is a skill. The more you practice, the stronger, the calmer, and the more resilient you become at any age. So people who practice breath work consistently for 8 weeks, they show significant improvements. We saw that in the studies in resilience, in mood, and overall well being. So, your breath is more than breathing, it's more than survival, it's a strategy. It's your superpower, it's recovery, resilience, and I want you to breathe deeply, trust your body, and find your edge with breath work.
Yes. Amazing. And so to go deeper into it, remember the Find Your Breath book. We're going to put the link in the comments so that you can grab your copy of it. This is going to allow you to go deeper into the strategies so that you can have those tools at any time. Like she said, they're tools in the toolbox. You go, okay, I'm in this situation. What's happening in my life? All right, I need some more recovery. I've been all amped up. All right, let's do this one. Okay, when your run ends, your breathing becomes most powerful recovery tool, right? So then it goes into it, puts stress in your body. So what do we need to do? We got to lower it down, slow the breathing down, get the more oxygen in, right? So each time you read this book, you're going to learn something different in order to go deeper into it. And the really cool thing is, if you have missed any of these, they're going to be in the group, but they're also going to be put into a YouTube channel. So we're going to have a 4-part series that'll be in YouTube. Once my beautiful assistant has put all of those together, we will send out the link into the world. And it's so exciting. You can find actually all of my authors and all of their series on my YouTube channel, because I want it to be a resource for you all to be able to go back, listen to, like a podcast. Think about it. You could be listening to this breath work while you're out for your walk or your run, reminding you while you're doing it, oh yeah, let me, inhale, 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 exhale, 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 get into that rhythm. When you hear these podcasts, use them as part of a living, breathing, active meditation and mindfulness to bring your attention back to your breath during your activities.
Yes. So I will put these 10 tips out on the site as well, along with the link to my book if they want more in-depth, like you said, more in-depth learning, because even though it's geared toward runners, there is something for everyone, particularly
100%.
appendix in itself is just like a wealth of knowledge. So
100%, 100%. Well, Cynthia, it was so amazing to have you on these 4 weeks. I can't believe that they're already done. Are there any last little final notes that you want to tell the collective before signing off for tonight?
well, I'm going to leave with this phrase. Every breath is an opportunity to reset, recover, and rise stronger. Breathe better, perform better, and live better.
Aho, that's it. That's all we need. Your breath is your superpower. Remember how to tap into it. It can change your state. 2 minutes of deep breathing can literally change your state of being from one to the other. You intensify it by 5. You start really getting into those health benefits. You do it for 8 weeks. Imagine what it's going to do for your body. All of those stats that have been in there giving you. This is something that is easy and free and accessible to everyone. You just have to carve out the time to do it. And remember, you are so worthy and deserving of the best version of you, the highest version of you, the most aligned version of you. And that is the version that steps into the superpower, that taps into these tools and takes the time for you. Because remember, self-care isn't selfish. It is absolutely needed to be able to create the balance in your life so that you can show up as the best version of you.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Use it. Like you said, it is free and accessible. And it beats taking medication any day.
Heck yeah. Absolutely. Well, for everybody that has joined us live, thank you so much from Empowering Wellness, myself, Leona, and from Cynthia and her beautiful coaching, her words of wisdom, and her book. Don't forget, you can still grab it. We're going to have all of the information up on the book club. if you are not joined on it and you're seeing this on one of our personal pages, make sure you join our book club. It's a chance to every Tuesday at 7 o'clock connect, have like-minded conversations with different practitioners with different lessons and learnings. And it's a really great place just to connect and see what's going on in the world. So take a break from the overwhelm and tap into something that's going to fill you up, that's going to teach you something, and have a great experience. So until next time, I'm sending you guys all much light and love from my heart into yours. Peace and namaste.